Hi, I'm Julianne,
And I'm TJ.
and we read fantasy.
Today we're here with N Crawford, the C at least. Hi, Christine. How you doing?
Hi, good. How are you? I can call him the N at some point if you want. He's watching Sabrina.
Yeah, we would like to see the end. We would like to see the end. That'd be
Like,
good.
has no idea what I'm doing. I'll just be like, "Hey, we're doing an interview," and he'll be pause Sabrina and come in. And
We should ambush N. It'll make things more
Definitely,
exciting.
definitely.
Yeah.
uh,
Cool.
So, did you want to tell us a little bit about the kind of author you are, just in general, your genres, and that before we get to the actual questions?
sure, yeah. So I'm an urban fantasy author with varying degrees of romance in the books. The next series that I'm doing after the one that comes out tomorrow is going to be more romance heavy. Some of it's more action heavy. Um, and I tend to write books. So some of them I write with my husband, who's next door, but a lot of them recently I'm writing on my own, and they all take place in the same worlds that we created in 2014. So we kind of keep building on the same world, which has demons and angels, and now I'm focusing a lot on fae. Fae and angels are like the two ones that I like the best.
That's cool.
Awesome.
And what is Queen of Storms about? So this is the one that's coming out tomorrow, right?
Yeah, it's coming out tomorrow, and it happens to be this is just somewhat random. So we've been working on this for a long time, but it happens to be that right now there's this huge market for Academy books, which is a happy coincidence because that's what we wrote. And so um, so it is kind of an Academy book. So it's a YA book, and it's about this girl who's coming from London to join the Institute of the Storm Fae. And there are these elite knights who kind of prosecute anyone who's a supernatural, because in this world you're not allowed to be a supernatural. And she joins them on purpose to try to break her friend out of their prison, and then she kind of gets stuck there having to compete in trials within the academy. It's a similar premise to this other series I wrote called The Shadow Fae and Court of Dreams, but this one's YA and that one's more adults. That one's like more violent, more swears, and more romance.
And more steam.
Yes, more steam. This one has romance, but it's a little less steamy.
Good, good. Well, and for those watching, tomorrow would be April 25th. That will be so the book will be out by the time people watch this. So
Yeah.
go buy your copy now. Okay. So what were you doing when you came up with this idea for this book specifically? Where were you at?
So it's co-authored with my friend Katerina Martinez. Are you getting feedback when I say that?
I got a little bit, but it sounds good now. I think
Okay.
Good, yeah.
So Katerina is actually like me and Nick. It's two people, another husband and wife team, but in Gibraltar. And we talked about taking a similar idea to the one that I'd been working on and putting it in a new setting and really incorporating a lot of Gibraltar and the big rock there and kind of the mystery of this ancient city. So that's kind of how we put the idea together. So there's a lot of like location-based stuff that's pretty cool.
Awesome.
That's very cool. And other than fame, fortune, and immortality, why do you write?
I feel like I need to let my crazy side out in a positive way. So it's just so I'm also a psychologist. That's before I started working full time as a writer. I was a school psychologist, and I happened to go to this lecture at some point about creativity, and the person giving the lecture was explaining how creativity works, and it's this interplay between the front part of your brain, which is like really organizational, and the back part of your brain, which is very dreamy and like where all the crazy stuff happens. And I feel like that in most jobs, you don't get to engage in that dreamy part. It's just all the front of your brain. It's all organizational. And I feel better being able to use those two things together.
That's really cool.
It is. Good answer. What issues in your own life have you had to wrangle with in order to get where you are today?
What issues with? I know you gave me the questions ahead of time, and I feel like I had a good answer then, and now I can't remember what it is. I mean, I guess just the challenges of going from being uh, full time in the working in the public school system and having a child and trying to transition from that to working full time as an author. So that involves a lot of staying up late at night to write, or
Yeah.
I used to be better at that. I can't do that at all anymore. It would be like 8 o'clock and I'd be like, time to focus. And then, write, or getting up early, or writing during nap times or whatever. And it's all stuff that I was doing a few years ago that I can no longer seem to do at all. But so that was probably one of the biggest challenges, finding time to write when you have a job and kids.
Yeah, it tends to be a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, would you choose if you had a weapon of choice, if you had to survive in a fantasy book, would it be a wand, a staff, a sword, or a spear?
Or any cool weapon.
Or any other ones. We just like to give suggestions.
I want to say a sword.
Yeah?
I feel like a better person would say a wand and would use it really like in a really elevated way, or a kind of like intelligent way. Like that's what a smart, nice person would choose. But I feel like in a fantasy world, I would be violent and I'd want a sword.
Awesome. But I mean, not a regular sword. It would probably glow occasionally and have runes of power.
Yeah, it would be a magic sword.
Yeah. Mine would like make me taller and slimmer. Like it would have runes of agility or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
Right? Yeah.
Mine would just probably just kill people, but it would glow while it did that. So that
It should.
Yeah. What is your most unpopular opinion?
I know
I know. This is Julianne wrote this one. It's not me.
I'm so excited every time I send it out. Like,
most unpopular opinion. I can't say my real one.
Yeah.
I'm getting better about it. I don't like dogs that much. But now I was afraid of dogs until recently, but now I'm becoming a little bit better. Like now that I see my kids liking dogs, and now I'm developing a better relationship to them. So that one makes people hate you. Everyone loves their dogs. So saying you don't like dogs is really, really unpopular.
You take it as like a personal offense that you don't like dogs as much as they do.
I'm gonna walk that one back and say I now like dogs. So I need a new one. I don't like Breaking Bad because I mostly like TV shows that have really attractive people in them.
Oh.
Yeah,
oh,
that
that's
was
right.
your question. You said Bachelor over Breaking Bad.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's too real.
And it's like makes me feel like I know Breaking Bad is probably a much better written show, but I just like to watch pretty people on TV.
And pretty people making a mess.
Exactly, like pretty creepy people.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, I respect it. And if you could be a character from a story you've read or written, who would you be and why?
I kind of want to be Leora from the last series I published, who she's just a super badass character, which I'm not in real life, but she's got this kind of like tough, scarred attitude, and she's also really funny. So I think she would be fun to be for a little while at least. She's not afraid of anything.
To be fair, we consider you very badass. When we first turned on the video, I was like, oh, like she's here, so I'm cool,
Yeah.
Too much? Okay. What is your favorite supernatural creature or monster? This one's super important.
Well, I can't decide between Fae and fallen angels because I like them both. They both have this kind of old, slightly alien, aristocratic thing that I like. I don't tend to read or write about shifters because they're the opposite. They're like earthy and but I like the these sort of like superior beings, like angels and fae. And there can be evil too. They're like weirdly cruel sometimes.
Yeah. So that's cool. And if you could ask anything of your readers, what would it be?
My readers are already really awesome and tend to talk up my books a lot, which I love. So I would just like them to keep doing that. Just keep being awesome.
Yeah, blow up the comment
Cool.
sections and be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, no trolls allowed. That's like our least favorite magical creature.
Mhm.
Trolls suck.
Yeah.
Everyone doesn't like them.
Yeah. And they're really mean online.
Yeah, they smell terrible.
Yeah. I don't encounter too many people who are mean about my books. Well, I don't read the negative reviews, so they probably are there, but I don't know what they're saying.
Yeah,
But
well, I get that too. You got to protect yourself.
but online in social media, I don't really encounter too much negativity.
That's good.
Yeah.
What setting in the real world do you find most inspiring when writing fantasy? Now, I think I'm going to explain the question because I messed it up a little bit.
Okay.
I mean, like, what setting in the real world makes you want to write that setting in fantasy? Gosh, that's a hard question.
It is a hard question.
Because some people are like, I like my kitchen, and I'm like, no.
So like do you get inspired to write about the mountains?
Like the mountains
or
or
about
like
cities?
oceans.
Yeah.
It's an easy answer for me. It's London. So it's cities. And I lived in London for 8 years, and I was really broke when I lived there, so I didn't really get to do that much that cost money, like go to restaurants or anything. So I spent a ton of time walking around with these like guides to the history, like that you could just print out for free. And there's guides to like the Roman Wall or South London or East London. And it's just a really, really rich history. And I got to know it so well. So I'm actually going back to London at the end of May with another writer friend of mine, Lindsay Hall, and Jenna Wolfhart, who lives in the UK. So we're all meeting up in London. And then we're taking a trip to York, which I haven't been to yet. But that's, I'm super excited about it because that's got this medieval kind of layout, these like tiny little alleyways, and I love stuff like that. And I went to Israel recently, and I visited some of these medieval cities in Israel, like an old Crusader city. And that's now the setting of the book I'm working on now. So mostly European cities and Israel now. Not as much. So I keep writing these British characters, and I'm not British, but I just keep wanting to set stuff in the UK, and so that's definitely my inspiration.
Awesome.
That's really cool. And what character in I guess
Queen of Storms?
Queen of Storms. Yeah, what character in Queen of Storms is your favorite?
I think it might be, let's see. So I'm deciding if it's the love interest is my favorite or the main character. I think
both.
Yeah, it could be both, and they're both so different. She's young and is kind of like overcoming this stutter and having been bullied when she was younger. But she's very feisty, and he's this ancient dragon shifter, and I actually do really like him. He's got, you kind of can't figure him out, like if he's good or bad, and he's kind of sarcastic and has his own agenda going on, but you don't know what it is till later on. I think I like him because he's witty.
That's always fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're excited to read the book.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, we can't wait.
And there's no excuses for anyone watching because it's going to be out by then.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be blowing up a bunch of 9-star reviews on Amazon.
Yes.
There's an option now. You can
stars.
do 4, 5, or 9, depending on how much you love Christine's books.
We would already give it 9.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Not having read it.
Yes. Yes.
have
The
issues.
TV show, yes.
Yeah. Sabrina's too scary for me sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I'm delicate.
He is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You're what?
I'm delicate. I don't do horror. And there's a couple scenes where I'm like, oh, ugh, you know?
Yeah, this is it's okay for me. I did watch a movie recently called Us I saw it in the cinema. It was absolutely terrifying.
Oh.
Like I had to sleep with the
Jordan
book on afterwards. What's that?
That was the Jordan Peele movie, right?
Exactly. It's so good and so scary. And yeah, I was like, it gave me proper insomnia.
Ooh, that's
Oh.
how you know it was good. I can't do horror movies. I like creepy and I like creepy fantasy.
What was your horror movie last night? What did you watch? Do it.
I can't do the voice, but
Yes, you can.
I watched the Theranos documentary on HBO.
Yeah.
And she lowers her voice like this,
It
and it's
creeps
very
me
strange.
out. I had anxiety going to bed. I can't. I'm gonna blush. I don't want to do it.
Come on, she pointed out next diaper cream. She can't do it.
I'm a terrible wife. I'm just like, hey, come here. They're recording something. Now let's point out your diaper cream.
Okay, so the girl, the Theranos CEO, Elizabeth Holmes, she lowers her voice. I'm pretty sure it's artificial, but she
sounds really fake.
it
and
lowers-
she's a super crook. She's
Yeah.
a bad person.
Yes.
Yeah.
It just sounds like she's trying to talk in a baritone.
We almost got it.
I almost got it, but now I'm nervous. Can we cut this out?
We can
And
cut
she
it.
also has this like eye staring thing.
We're gonna cut this out, but do it.
She's got the big eyes, and she talks like this the whole time.
It's really awkward.
I think that
She
she
talks about her
thing
family.
with her uncle. You know, her uncle who.
Had cancer.
Yeah, I think I was reading about her afterwards, and I was like, the uncle was real, but I think her relationship with him was fake.
Oh, really?
There's a lot that was interesting about her.
Yeah.
It was like the Fire Festival. Where it's
It
like,
was.
we've got everything, and it's all fake.
Yeah.
You know,
And
marketing.
I think that stuff, like, I'm super fascinated with it, but it makes me feel really weird afterwards. Like, we went straight to bed right after watching that, and I had anxiety for like an hour. I kept on like waking up, like starting, like
waking me up.
She's here.
she's gonna get me.
Are you going to sleep, Julia? I want to be Steve Jobs so bad.
She's so creepy. Yeah.
Well, I think it is creepy because these people are like functioning sociopaths. Not that I'm not officially diagnosing her, but that's what they seem like.
Thank you so much, Christine. It was nice talking to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
Bye.
All right,
Bye.
bye.